So now, last but not least, I'd like to formally introduce Ginny as herself this time. Ginny is a software engineer. She most recently was working at Uber. She's also been doing some amazing work working with venture capital in light of the Me Too movement. So she's been extremely involved in that front. And so she's doing lots of amazing work focused on older users in government design. And she's going to wrap us up by telling us a little bit about that. So thank you so much, Ginny.
Thank you. Yes, excited to be talking about older users in government design. And in particular, something we don't always think about is how the internet affects each of us differently. And the internet enables so many great things, right? It enables the ability to communicate, to buy things, to see the world through images and maps, to fall in love, to be entertained. And yet the internet touches all of us differently, and it touches us differently based on the profile we bring, the education we have, the friends we have. And in the case of older adults, it touches them differently in one way that's particularly challenging, which is they are targeted for online scams and scams over the phone at much higher rates than any other segment of the population. And those scams and hacks that are targeted at older adults who are perceived to maybe not know better or to be an easy get or whatever for crimes. When you look online, the problem's getting a lot worse online, and actually in the past 5 years of online scams, they've increased for older adults by over 400%. When an older adult gets scammed, the average amount lost is $42,000, which is the cost of a brand new BMW 3 Series. So that's a lot of money. Seniors could all be buying BMWs, and instead they're getting scammed. When you look at the scams that are happening online, it's actually alarming how many of them are happening on online dating platforms. So individuals impersonating somebody who wants to date an older adult, establish a relationship, a rapport over many months, and then say they're in hard straits and ask for money to be sent. And older adults will willingly send money and lose a lot doing it. And social media scams are fourth most popular through identity theft on social media or impersonating personalities on social media, and then using a new close relationship with an older adult to trick them into giving a lot of money. And so it's surprising to me how many scams are starting to be on online dating platforms. For the government to work on this problem, they need to have data around it. And in particular, the FBI and the FTC both have extensive scam data sets. But there's an estimate that only 1 in 30 scams that happens ever ends up in a government database in any sort. And so the goal of our policy project was, how can we improve online scam reporting for seniors, as they're the population that is getting scammed online the most? Tara made a comment earlier about the importance of getting close to problems, the Brian Stevenson quote she brought up. And in tech speak, the way tech companies talk about getting close to problems is they say, let's do user-centered design. And user-centered design means when you're trying to solve a problem, get really close with people who are having the problem and interview them and understand with specificity what exactly the issue is, and then work with them to design a solution. And so that's what we did. We, talking to government agencies, social workers, folks working on this problem across the legal profession, older citizens' homes, the government, we saw very few older adults actually being involved in conversations about how to solve the problem. So we conducted a design thinking workshop here in San Francisco with 3 local senior centers. And the theme of the workshop was, how can the internet be better for you? So we had people tell us a lot about great times they'd had online, awesome experiences, cool things that had happened to them because the internet existed. And then we asked them to brainstorm times when they felt most unsafe online and times when they felt most frustrated online. And we captured all of that, and then we asked them to test the reporting form for reporting a potential scam to the FBI. And what we learned is that people who are high intent to report scams to the government and who are on this website and have decided they're going to tell a government official about something terrible that happened to them where they lost a ton of money and were embarrassed and humiliated, they get to this website, and for a number of seemingly subtle design reasons, they actually cannot fill out this form. The older adult I was user testing with spent over a minute trying to click in to this grayed out section. And many of us who have spent our careers working on technology products intuitively know the design language of grayed out means don't click it. But he clicked for over a minute and then got so frustrated he stood up and left and said, I hate this exercise, I don't want to do this. And these are the people who are closest to telling the government about what's happened to them and closest to enabling possible prevention using the data from the scam. So we've created a list of design recommendations for government agencies, and we've circulated this list with the relevant group at the FBI as well as with the FTC and a number of other agencies. We've also built a new reporting form, and this new reporting form utilizes the US Web Design Standards, and it is a reporting form that we believe will enable more older adults to fill out and submit information to the government. We've tested it with older adults in the same workshop, and they seem to like it a lot better. And this form is actually going to be used by government agencies as they're revamping their scam reporting, and this will be what they start with when they come up with their new system. This is some of the groups we met with in DC. So the FBI is going to leverage the work we've done on this project, as is the FTC. And then the Cybercrime Support Network has a large grant from the Department of Homeland Security, and they're the group who's going to be taking our reporting form and helping it get to the next level. We're also really passionate about making sure that corporations who have data about scams start contributing that data to government. And so we have a policy brief where we outline exactly how we believe that should happen, and the FTC has been excited to hear these recommendations and start to put them in motion. And then finally, we've created a website. It's an online resource for older adults and their families who have suffered from scams about how to report it and what next steps should be. So that's the project. Thank you.
Questions for Ginny?
So, your research here focused a lot on the FBI. What about other agencies that might, also have jurisdiction over issues that affect seniors and that they might want to report to, at state level, other federal agencies? Were there problems there too that you found, or is there any indication of how they might improve?
The reason why we published, or why we tested the FBI form in particular, was that they're the group that's published the most data about the problem. And so we started with their form because we only had a certain amount of time with seniors. We had to narrow down. The FTC also has reporting forms, and those reporting forms in some ways are better and in some ways share some of the same obstacles that are present in the FBI form, but we presented the design recommendations across agencies that deal with this problem and not just to the FBI.
Thank you for this. I love taking the user-centered design approach. One thing that I've done with user-centered design is figuring out a channel strategy. Did you do any research to distinguish if that form itself was the best channel for this audience, or if like a phone number would have been more appropriate or something like that?
There's currently no phone number, which is a huge obstacle. And we believe that a phone number would dramatically increase the reports coming in. There's actually an effort at way right now to create a phone number, but because alternatives to reporting online didn't exist, we just chose the online alternative that was publishing the most data, that had a team committed to this issue, and that also seemed to be the way that most people were finding where to report to government.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ginny, and thank you to everybody who has presented today. So I just want to take a few minutes to ask you, go online, check everything out. Some of the fellows have produced infographics, they've produced toolkits, they've produced white papers. There's amazing things, so go see what they've actually built. Also, if you're interested in doing this work, consider applying to our program. We'll open up for our next cohort, which will be summer 2020. Those applications should open up in early December. And we actually also have a January cohort, and there are a few people in the audience who might or might not be a part of that. So we look forward to introducing you to them in January. I want to give a special thanks to Northwestern University, to Lawrence and JP for hosting us. Thank you guys so much for allowing us to be a part. I'd like to thank Nicole and Tara for inspiring our fellows and for being a part of it today. I'd like to thank David and Ryan for helping to set up this amazing event, as well as all the vendors that are helping us. And finally, I want to thank the fellows. So these guys took a chance on a program that didn't exist when they decided to apply, and really have done some amazing things. And I hope you'll join me first in thanking them, and then coming and having a drink to celebrate them. So thank you so much for being here. It's been our pleasure. Thanks again.